Hi, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for having me here in Hong Kong. I'm really excited today to chat with you guys about a few different things, and they're all underwritten by a similar theme, one that we've been hearing for a little while, some that some VCs have been talking about as like a nice narrative for software eating the world. Software is going to eat the world. Software is being automated more and more, right? And we're consuming more information, more data. And a large part of that is how we've seen this hyper-financialization, right? So having open source finance allows us to automate more of the economic productivity that software allows. Now, how do we actually get to this point where it eats the world? Well, we've seen a lot of, I think, excitement and maybe a lot of hype around AI agents and what they're capable of and how they can really move things forward. But if I have one question for you guys today, or one theme that I want you to take away from today, is would you trust an agent with your private key? Would you trust an agent with your private key? You would. So you would hand over your bank account to a piece of software that might run locally, that might run in the cloud, and you would give it full control, knowing that, hey, this agent will do things for me, and I'll, whatever happens, happens. An agent login, that's very interesting. I think, yeah, I mean, people are doing this today, right? People are handing over private keys to agents. They are allowing them into their computers, right? They're downloading them. Like Claude Cowork is a great example, although Claude Cowork tends to ask permission before it does things. Or they're downloading open source software off the internet with this idea that, hey, they can be at the forefront of this transhumanist movement that we're seeing with agents and automate away all of their manual labor. Now, what's interesting is that you really should never give your private key to an AI, right? The Bitcoiners had it right. They had it right. They said you should never, not your keys, not your coins. And private keys really are kind of I think, the epitome of what self-custody means. So if you want to self-custody and be able to control your own assets, that's the whole point of crypto. Why are you doing anything if not self-custodying? And so if you're not self-custodying, then you can just use a traditional finance custodial provider, right? Open up a bank account, and you'll have all those tools accessible to you. But if we're really going to see, I think, this vision of software consuming everything and bringing forth this cybernetic world where you have these self-correcting machines that are running most of society and economic productivity, we're going to have to find a way to split the trust between humans and the agents that they're delegating capabilities towards. So the way that you can do that actually is instead of having, say, a single private key that you create and then hand over to an agent, you can actually take your private key and split it into two shares. This is something called two-party computation, or 2PC. Instead of, hey, okay, well, Mr. Agent, I want you to make me $100 with this $10 that I'm going to give you with, and you have full control of it. What you can actually do is set a time-limited permission token for this agent, and then it could go off and produce things for you, but always, it never has access to the full key. It just has access to capabilities, not authority. So this delegated capability, not authority architecture, we think is going to be really important. We're already seeing some providers and early pioneers in the agent space beginning to incorporate this methodology, but a lot of them are using already existing infrastructure like AWS Nitro or trusted execution environments. And that really puts a certain set of trust assumptions on those companies, right? So, for example, we're going to be running all of this these new economic engines of productivity, these agents that are going to be doing all of the finance, all of the trading, all of the new startups that are going to emerge in the next decade. But all of that is going to be determined by a company that's holding this infrastructure, right? And at the very core of it will be AWS, right? So when it comes to crypto and thinking about what does the future of permissionless open source finance actually look like, maybe we should be asking the question, do we do this in using traditional technology? Or is there a way forward for blockchains to become the home for agents and key delegation? So what's interesting about this is through this technology, 2PC, you can actually anchor your policies and your key derivation on chain. And this isn't just account abstraction. This is where you take an existing, say, you take an existing chain and you add on to it a multi-party compute network, a threshold network, that's anchored to that chain. And then that chain is able to spin up keys and set permissions that are written on chain. Now, we're using a technology within the SWI ecosystem called ICA to be able to generate keys on any elliptic curve. This means that you can have an address on Ethereum or an address on Solana and execute a transaction on any non-EVM or non-say, native language on a different chain. This is really powerful. This means that you can now have a single account across chains. You don't need to have, say, one account on Solana to do your trading on, one account on Ethereum to do your other things that you do. You can have a holistic, environment where you're able to control basically your assets without a lot of the added frictions on top of that. And that's, I think, a huge game changer for bringing finance into Web3 in ways that wasn't possible before. So yeah, I think to conclude, I only have a couple things for you guys to say today, is that actually today in production, we've shipped the full support for 2PC on SWI, powered by ICA. It's something that's called wallet as a protocol, not a service, because you really shouldn't be renting your private keys from third parties. Private keys were meant to be owned. That's the whole point of them. And we invite you guys to give it a shot. I think if you're interested or concerned with how UX and self-custody is going to be evolving moving forward, and how institutional finance is going to move, say, away from the past and towards the future, and if we're truly going to unlock the agent economy with strong security guarantees for what's possible, right, where the humans are in control, not the agents that you're delegating your private keys to, then this is one of the paths forward and something we have very strong conviction in. And we think that SWI is going to be an excellent home for that. So yeah, thanks guys for bearing with me while I reoriented. We'll have some slides for you guys to look at later maybe, but thank you so much. And yeah, if you're interested at all in the future of wallet infrastructure or how agents in the future are going to be creating wallets and what that means and what security concerns need to be addressed as part of that, do come find me. I'll be right outside of the room. Thank you.